Good evening. Here is our Unit 8, Lesson 3, Graphing Functions. Here's our 4 learning targets. We're going to be able to graph a linear equation in the coordinate plane and label its axes appropriately, or its intercepts, slope, and ordered pairs. I can recognize the slope and graph of the horizontal and vertical line. I can recognize the y-intercept as the initial value in a real-world problem and include appropriate units. So, recall, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. M is the slope, b is the y-intercept. Slope-intercept form. We use this to graph on our calculator and without the calculator. So, we want to graph this in example 1, the following linear equation in slope-intercept form. Label the slope and the y-axis. So let's slope right here is going to be 2, just a coefficient of x. It's the m. The y-intercept is 3. We always want to do this. I'm going to say this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. You want to put some units on here so everybody knows looking at this graph what it is. And here's how we start graphing. After we find the y-intercept and the slope, number 1, we graph the y-intercept. Okay? So, y-intercept is 3. I put a point, that's where it crosses the y-axis. It's my point at 3. Now, number 2, use the slope, which is the rise over the run. So the slope is 2. Slope of 2 could also mean 2 over 1, right? So it's up 2 over 1. So up 2 over 1, we put a point. Up 2 over 1, put a point. Now we take a straight edge, a ruler, our ID. We draw a nice straight line through all 3. We want about 3 points when we graph a line. Minimum 2, but we should do 3 all the time. Straight line, and that's it. Slope is 2 and y-intercept's 3. So B is a U-try. Excuse me, you guys try that. Remember, find the slope of the y-intercept, graph the y-intercept, use the slope. Okay, example 2. Example 2, pretty similar, but they already gave us the slope and the y-intercept. We don't have to figure them out. So, once again, let's label these axes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is going to be 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 10. We want to do that. I'll show you in the next video, or the next example, why. Now, y-intercept is 3. So, 1, 2, 3. That's where it crosses the y-axis. You plot the y-axis, the y-intercept. Slope of negative 4 is the same as negative 4 over 1, which means down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. Put a point. Down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. Put a point. I have 3 points. I'm going to use my straight edge. Draw a nice line. Put some arrows on the end. Line goes off forever. And then it says circle the x-intercept. So I want to circle the x-intercept, which is right here, and put a square on the y-intercept. We're just trying to identify these. So we want to put a circle on the x-intercept, a square on the y-intercept. Okay, you guys try B. 3, example 3 says identify the correct graph for the following linear equations. Well, we could punch this in our calculator and figure it out, match it up, or we know some things. Slope, negative 1/3, whoops, 1/3, and the y-intercept is 2. So, is this y-intercept 1, 2? That looks like a y-intercept of 2. That could be it. 1, 2, that could be it. This one, y-intercept's down here. Can't be that one. This one, the y-intercept's down here. It can't be that one. Just by knowing what the y-intercept. It's where the line crosses the y-axis. Crosses 2, 2. It's between these two. They're both downhill, so they're both negative slopes. That's good. But now this slope here says negative 1/3. It says down 1, over 3. 1, 2, 3. Well, it doesn't look like that line. What about this one? Down 1, 1, 2, 3, over 3. Down 1, over 3. So, B is the correct choice. Alright. There's part B here, a U try. You guys try that one tonight or tomorrow. And now we have some real world application problems. So, this table shows the relationship between minutes Y it takes you to complete each mile that you run X in the Chicago Marathon. So, graph the data at the right. Label your axes appropriately. This is going to be important in this unit. So, my Y-axis, it already tells me, is the minutes. So I'm going to put minutes up here. And the X-axis is the miles, or the distance. And now we want to put some units on here. So it looks like the X's are 1, 2, 0, 1. I could just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is going to be 10. I could put all the numbers. I could put 1, 2, 3, 4. Gets a little messy if we do that. Now, going up on the y-axis, if we label this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, we'll only be able to plot up to that second point. We have to get this graph in. So let's go by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20. So each box is 5. 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. We don't have to put each number in there. If somebody looked at this graph, they can figure out that each box is 5. So now we want to graph these, plot these points. So 0, 0, 1, 10. So at 1, 10. At 2, you're at 20. Now we want to draw a line. We start at the origin, 0, 0. We don't go below, and we go up like this with an arrow. If you could run more, that would be the slope of that line. It does not go down here. Okay? Now the slope of the line. This is a little tricky since we didn't do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the same scale on the y-axis as the x-axis. We can't count. I can't say that this slope is 1, 2 over 1. Doesn't work out. Let's try this. If I want to figure out the slope of this line, I know it's y2, 10 minus 0 over 1 minus 0, which is 10 over 1, which is just 10. Slope of this line is 10. We figure it out algebraically like this. We do not count since we don't have the same scale. Okay? And now, incomplete sentences explain what the slope represents. So what does 10 represent? Well, it represents every 1 mile you run, it takes 10 minutes. Every mile you run, it takes 10 minutes. So I run 2 miles, it takes me 20 minutes. If I ran 3 miles, it takes me 30 minutes. Every mile you run takes 10 minutes. That's what that means. Okay? There's a U try for number 5. So you guys try this at home or when we get back. We're going to do some more exercises, but it really only takes how many points to make a line? If I give you a point, I need at least 2 points to make a line. At least. We typically graph 3 though. Alright, see you guys in class tomorrow.